The PlayStation 5 has officially reclaimed the top spot in the US console market, and this is a bigger deal than it might sound at first glance. According to the latest sales data from Circana, the company formerly known as the NPD Group, the PlayStation 5 was the best selling console in the United States for November 2025, leading the market in both units sold and total dollar sales. Sakana's reporting window covers the 4 week period from November 2nd through November 29th, which captures the entire core holiday shopping season, making this result especially significant. What really makes this moment stand out is the historical context. This is the first time the PlayStation 5 has finished in first place since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. Since that console hit the market, Nintendo had been dominating US hardware sales month after month, riding the wave of launch hype, strong early demand, and Nintendo's proven ability to appeal to both hardcore fans and more casual buyers. For Sony to break that streak now shows that the PS5 still has serious momentum even several years into its life cycle and even against newer competition. Another important factor to understand here is the overall state of the market. November 2025 was not a strong month for video game hardware sales as a whole. In fact, it was one of the weakest Novembers the industry had seen in decades when looking at total spending. Higher prices, tighter consumer budgets, and the absence of a brand new blockbuster console launch all contributed to lower overall numbers across the board. That makes the PlayStation 5's performance even more impressive because Sony just didn't win in a booming market. It won in a tougher, more competitive environment where every sale mattered. The fact that the PS5 led both unit sales and dollar sales is also worth highlighting. Leading in units sold means more consoles physically moved into players' homes, while leading in dollar sales means Sony generated more total revenue than its competitors. That combination suggests a strong mix of demand across different PS5 models and bundles, including higher priced versions, rather than relying purely on discounts or lower cost options to drive volume. This result also reinforces the idea that the PlayStation 5 has reached a stage of maturity, where it no longer relies solely on launch hype. Instead, it's being supported by a large installed user base, a steady stream of high profile games, and the PlayStation's brand's long standing reputation. For many buyers heading into the holidays, the PS5 is a known quantity with a deep library, strong third party support, and an ecosystem they already trust. Meanwhile, the Nintendo Switch 2 finishing behind the PS5 doesn't mean Nintendo is suddenly struggling. Far from it. The Switch 2 has already had a hugely successful launch period and demand remains strong. What this really shows is that the gap between the major console platforms is tightening, and monthly results can shift depending on timing, promotions, and consumer priorities. In a slower hardware market, even small changes in buying behavior can move a console from second place to first. Looking ahead, this sets up an interesting question for the rest of the holiday season and beyond. Can Sony maintain the momentum through December and into the new year? Or will Nintendo rebound as supply, promotions, or new releases shift the balance again? With the console generation now well underway and no immediate next gen hardware on the horizon, the battle is less about launches and more about sustained value, software support, and long term engagement. No matter how you look at it, November 2025 was a meaningful win for PlayStation. It proves that the PS5 is still a dominant force in the US market and that the competition between Sony and Nintendo remains as intense as ever. This isn't just about numbers, it's about momentum, perception, and who's capturing gamers' attention at a time when every purchase decision counts. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more updates on the gaming industry, hardware sales, and the stories behind the numbers, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And as always, game on.